Naruto, copy everything from the Uzumaki Clan. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 11. Tsunade looked at Uchiha angrily. This little devil was obviously very disdainful of her, and actually denied it. But Tsunade can't take Hoshiyu either. You can't beat him because of this. Although Tsunade is violent, it is not enough to do it to a child. Suddenly Tsunade laughed twice. It seems that the little ghost, your mentality is very good, you actually came out of the shadow of extermination so quickly. Tsunade put his hand on Hoshiha's head, and then rubbed Hoshiha's hair as if in retaliation. Kneading and rubbing, Tsunade felt that it felt good and a little addicted. Looking at Xingyu's handsome little face, Tsunade couldn't help but reach out and pinch Xingyu's cheek. Soft, so cute. Kushina on the side saw Tsunade moving his hands and feet on Hoshiyu, and shouted angrily at Tsunade, "How can you look like this?" Hoshiyu was also very upset. Tsunade pinched his face comfortably, but Hoshiyu felt very uncomfortable. It is simply a shame to be pinched in the face by a woman like this. Can you please let go? I don't like men touching me. Hoshiha said unhappily towards Tsunade. Men? Tsunade was stunned all of a sudden. I'm so beautiful, where did you see that I'm a man? The old lady is a woman. It's not good to look at a young age, I'm a woman, not a man. Tsunade said viciously. Huh. Although I am young, I still know the difference between men and women. What are you like a woman? Xingyu's gaze looked at a certain part without a trace of ups and downs, and there was contempt in his eyes. Tsunade's face turned red. This was angered by Hoshiyu, and now Tsunade didn't know where this stinky imp was deliberately despising himself. Princess Tsunade, find 2 survivors. Tsunade, who was angry and wanted to teach Hoshiyu a lesson, glared at Hoshiyu, and then looked towards the 2 survivors. The 2 men, one the same age as Xingyu and the other about 20 years old, are both survivors of the Uzumaki clan. That person who is the same age as Xingyu still knows. Uzumaki, long time no see, your legs are better now, right? Hoshiyu showed a faint smile towards Uzumaki, causing Uzumaki to look at Hoshiyu angrily, with a trace of fear in his angry eyes. Uzumaki, he is the son of the physique of ninja Uzumaki, who was copied by Hoshiha. There was a conflict, but Hoshiha broke one of his legs. I didn't expect that this time the Uzumaki family was destroyed, and Uzumaki survived, and his life was big enough. Tsunade's gaze wandered around Hoshiha and Uzumaki. It seemed that there was a contradiction between these 2 imps. However, the contradiction between the 2 imps, Tsunade was not willing to care about it, and looked at the Whirlpool clan in his 20s. What's your name? My name is Hikaru Uzumaki, and I am a Naka shinobi of the Uzumaki family. Do you know who did it to the Vortex clan? Tsunade asked towards Uzumaki Hikaru. I don't know, I hid at the beginning because I was afraid, and what happened after that, I don't know. Uzumaki Hikaru lowered his head a little ashamedly, drawing Tsunade's disdainful gaze. This guy is older than her, so daring, the family is in danger, and as a ninja, he actually hides. Tsunade's age is not as big as this vortex. Don't look at Tsunade's little ghost to Hoshiyu before. In fact, Tsunade is only 16 years old. However, in the Hokage world, 16 years old is not too young, and if it was placed in the Warring States period, he would have already married and had children. Tsunade tells his men to continue searching for survivors, while also investigating which shinobi village made the move on the Uzumaki clan. Looking at the traces of the water rushing and the traces left by the damage caused by the thunder, in fact, Tsunade already had some guesses in his heart. If the guess is really true, then Tsunade can't help it. Little ghost, what's your name? Tsunade asked towards Hoshiha. Always called a little ghost, Xingyu's heart is a little unhappy, but it's a pity that he can't beat Tsunade. Tsunade's current strength, Hoshiyu is estimated to have the level of elite upper ninja, and it is definitely stronger than Hoshiyu. My name is Uzumaki Starfeather, and, don't call me a little ghost, be careful when my strength becomes stronger and takes revenge on you. Revenge on me? Hehe, I'm waiting for that day to come. Tsunade looked at Hoshiha playfully. Xingyu snorted lightly, now you look down on my strength, don't regret it when you are beaten in the future. Xingyu, I'm hungry. Kushina pulled Xingyu and said. Xingyu immediately took out some dry food, and some jerky, although some dry, but now it is good to fill his stomach. 3 days later, the bodies of the people of the Vortex clan were all buried, including Xingyu's grandfather in this life, that is, the great elder of the Uzumaki clan. Seeing his corpse, Xingyu's heart was very complicated, and his feelings were not deep. After all, he had not seen each other a few times. However, Xingyu's heart was still a little uncomfortable. After burying all the bodies, Hoshiha and the others followed Tsunade to Konoha. There was an extra sword behind Xingyu, a blade more than 3 feet long, and a golden pattern on the handle, which did not look particularly gorgeous. This was found by Xingyu in the ancestral hall of the Vortex family. Xingyu tried it before, it was very sharp, and the hard stone could be cut with a knife, and the cut was extremely smooth. As for whether it can cut the steel, this star feather does not know, because it has not been experimented. Riding the ship, heading towards the land of fire, Hoshiyu stood at the stern of the ship, looking at the vortex country that was fading away. Tsunade also stood next to Xingyu, and this time he left, he didn't know when he would return. Do you feel reluctant? Listening to the voice coming from behind them, Hoshiwa and Kushina looked back, it was Tsunade. Kushina puffed out her mouth when she saw Tsunade, with a dissatisfied expression. Hoshiha is also respectful of Tsunade now, and this woman does not know what the situation is, rubbing his hair every day and pinching his face. This made Xingyu very dissatisfied, but unfortunately his arm could not twist his thigh. Xingyu did not want to expose his strength, and did not resist much. Xingyu wondered if this woman had awakened some strange attribute. And the reason why Tsunade was dissatisfied was also very simple, she had not rubbed Xingyu's head, nor had she pinched Xingyu's cheeks. This woman did all the things she hadn't done, which of course made Tsunade dissatisfied, feeling that her own star feather had been snatched away. After arriving in Konoha, you will regard Konoha as your home, and after a long time, you will naturally forget all those unpleasantness. Cut, where do we need you to comfort, Xingyu, let's go. Tsunade glanced at Tsunade with a hostile anger, and pulled Xingyu into the cabin, and the woman in front of her was her biggest displeasure. This nasty little girl. Tsunade also discovered that this little girl was very hostile to her. Shouldn't this little girl like Xingyu's little ghost head? Tsunade guessed. The current child is really precocious, that little girl is only 5 years old, right? Episode 12, Xingyu, you must stay away from that woman in the future. After coming to the cabin, Tsunade said solemnly to Xingyu. Well, I don't need you to say that, I will too. Xingyu also didn't want to enjoy the look of being pinched and unable to resist. When the strength is strong in the future, then take revenge, now hide from the woman Tsunade a little, the attack is not light or heavy, and his face is swollen. Xingyu thought viciously in his heart. A few hours later, the ship finally landed, and Tsunade leaned on Xingyu's body in a dizzy head. You can't do it, I'm so dizzy. Xingyu supported Tsunade, and did not expect that Tsunade would get seasick, which is probably because of Tsunade's first boat ride. Already docked, Tsunade, you hold on a little longer. Gee, the little girl actually got seasick, it's a shame. Tsunade folded his hands and said. The various hostilities of Tsunade before made Tsunade very unhappy, although he didn't want to see the little girl of Tsunade, but now seeing her embarrassed appearance, Tsunade still couldn't help but want to scare him. Nonsense, I didn't faint. Kushina reluctantly shook her dizzy head, and then looked at Tsunade unwillingly. Gee. Tsunade didn't say anything more, and with a little girl, this is too ungraceful and will be laughed at. Take a break and hurry. Tsunade saw that not only Kushina was not adaptable, but even Akiko Uzumaki and Uzumaki were not adaptable, so he spoke. Xingyu is fine, he is not seasick, and Uzumaki Light is a medium ninja, naturally there is no problem. I took a break, replenished some food, and moved on. How long will it take to get from here to Konoha? Hoshiha couldn't help but ask towards Tsunade. I'll tell you when you come. Tsunade smiled, and then hooked his hand at Hoshiba. Forget it, I don't want to know now. Hoshiha and Kushina walked behind, their eyes admiring the scenery of the land of fire. From the moment you set foot on land is the land of fire, which is not the largest among the 5 major countries, but it is definitely the best geological. The land here is fertile, even the trees grow more abundant than the trees of the vortex country, and the people of the fire country are much richer than the people of other countries. Xiaoyu, how are we going to live when we get to Konoha? Tsunade asked worriedly towards Xingyu. It's the same as before, Tsunade, don't hold so much pressure, and Tsunade, don't call me Xiaoyu. Xingyu raised his hand and rubbed Tsunade's head, making Tsunade feel a burst of warmth. Although he was a little apprehensive about the strange Konoha in his heart, with Hoshiyu by his side, Tsunade felt that the haze in his heart was dispelled. No matter where it is, as long as you are with Xingyu, it is the same. Slowly, Tsunade put down the burden in his heart, and his mood improved a lot, and the shadow of the extinction of the Vortex clan also disappeared in Tsunade's heart. What are you talking about? Tsunade suddenly fell behind and asked towards Hoshiwa and Kushina. Well, you still have time to come and talk to us. Xingyu couldn't help but say. Although I am escorting you, this is already in the territory of the land of fire, and at most I will encounter some mountain thieves, so it is very safe. Tsunade said that when he had not yet stepped into the land of fire, Tsunade was still a little wary, but now he has completely put his vigilance down. So. The Kuwu and the shuriken in the sky suddenly fell towards Xingyu and their group, and even Kuwu had an explosive charm tied to it. Xingyu's face changed, and at this time, he didn't care about revealing his strength, pulled Joshinai, and quickly dodged. Those ninjas of the Senju clan, although they are also a little relaxed like Tsunade, but after all, they are all ninjas who are not weak. In the face of the sudden attack, they reacted quickly protecting several survivors of the Vortex clan, and taking several people of the Vortex clan to avoid the attack. Tsunade's eyes were a little strange. Just now, Tsunade was about to take Hoshiyu and Jioshina out of the attack range, but Hoshiyu left instantly with Joshinai. The speed that erupted made Tsunade can't help but look sideways, and Tsunade estimated that the speed would not be weaker than her. It seems that Xingyu, this little ghost, is not so simple. Tsunade also quickly avoided it. Now is not the time to think about this, it is better to deal with these guys who attacked. Tsunade's eyes were cold, he didn't expect that in the realm of the Land of Fire, he would actually be attacked. The main thing is that Tsunade has just finished talking to Hoshiyu, it is safe in the Land of Fire, it will be fine, and as a result, these people jumped out and punched in the face. Tsunade felt that his face was hot, and these guys were unforgivable. Xingyu took Joshinai and hid behind a big tree, holding Joshinai tightly with one hand, and his eyes looked around vigilantly. It would be nice if I could awaken the Kagura Heart Eye of the Uzumaki clan. Kagura's Heart Eye is an ability of the Uzumaki clan and one of the strongest detection techniques in the Hokage world. After opening the Heart Eye, you can use chakra to perceive abnormal behavior within a radius of tens of kilometers. If you have a known specific chakra, you can also perceive the detailed location and movement, the number of opponents, their characteristics, and even the speed of movement. The ability to detect is not weaker than that of the White Eye, but there are very few in the Uzumaki clan who can awaken the Kagura Heart Eye. In the original work, only Uzumaki Xiangli is known to awaken this ability, and Xingyu does not know if he can awaken. If you can awaken Kagura's heart, you will be able to accurately know the enemy's location and movement, and it will be easier to guard against at that time. Unlike now, you are very passive, you must concentrate and keep an eye on your surroundings to prevent enemies from taking advantage of your inattention. Ninja is an assassination profession, and sneak attacks are good tricks for ninjas. Joshinai, don't be afraid, I will protect you. I won't be afraid. Joshinai clenched her fists, and she was very unwilling in her heart, and she was a drag on her feet at this time. You must cultivate heart in the future. Joshinai secretly made up his mind in his heart, at least he couldn't drag Xingyu's hind legs in the future. Xingyu hid here with Joshinai, and the battle over there had already begun, and more than 24 ninjas appeared in an instant, all of their clothes were uniform, and there was no forehead protection. It was impossible to tell which country the ninja was, and the ninja who rushed towards the Senju clan slashed and attacked. That's right, the people Tsunade brought to the rescue of the Vortex country were all ninjas of the Senju clan. Tsunade uses strange powers to concentrate chakra all over his body, covering his whole body with chakra, and then a powerful air flow erupts from his body. Give me death. Tsunade punched a ninja, and in an instant the ninja flew over like a rag. Before he landed, the ninja had no breath, and Tsunade's strange fist was so terrifying. Episode 13, Arrival in Konoha, Collection. Hoshiha hid aside, and couldn't help but gasp when he saw Tsunade punch a ninja to death and beat the other party as if he had been in the scene of a car accident. Well, a breath of cold air was not enough to express the shock in his heart, and Xingyu said that he still had to gasp for air. This female power is terrifying, and she must not. Blah blah, what influence is it, Xingyu, what are you talking to yourself? Joshinai touched Xingyu and asked. It's nothing, Joshinai, do you think she's violent? Hoshiha looked at the ninja's miserable situation and felt that if he was punched, it was estimated that it would not be much better. Violence? I think it's okay. Joshinai's eyes lit up, and there was a hint of yearning in her eyes. At this moment, Xingyu subconsciously wanted to stay away from Joshinai. Could it be that Joshinai's heart also wanted to become so violent? Xingyu suddenly thought that Joshinai's temper didn't seem to be so good. Hoshiyu continued to look at Tsunade. Tsunade's strength at this time should be to the extent of elite upper shinobi, but it burst out with strength far beyond ordinary elite upper shinobi. One punch can kill a ninja, it's a punch to a child. Who the hell sent these ninjas? Hoshiyu's gaze was on the ninjas who attacked them, originally thinking that their target was them as a Uzumaki clan. But now Xingyu seems to be coming for the Thousand Hands clan. Xingyu saw that the Naka shinobi called Uzumaki Light had broken away from protection, and if they were going to attack the Uzumaki clan, it would be good to kill Uzumaki Light now. Hoshiyu's eyes are a little strange, maybe these ninjas are the ninjas of Konoha. This guess is not impossible. First of all, this is the territory of the Land of Fire. If there are more than 24 ninjas from other countries mixed in the territory of the Land of Fire, and Konoha, as the #1 ninja village, does not know it, it is really a bit unreasonable. Alas, suddenly found that going to Konoha is not so safe. Perhaps the incident of the Uzumaki clan in the country of Vortex is also related to Konoha, Uchiha thought secretly in his heart. The Uzumaki clan was wiped out, and only Tsunade was sent by Konoha to the rescue, plus 9 clansmen of the Senju clan. It is also fortunate that those invaders have already left, otherwise the troops sent by Konoha to rescue would simply be delivered. Now that he encountered an enemy in the territory of the Land of Fire, and the other party seemed to be coming at the people of the Senju clan, thinking that in the future, the Senju clan would have no one else except Tsunade, and Xingyu felt that his guest should be inseparable. But guessed that Gue guessed, Xingyu will not say it, not to mention that all this is just his guess, there is no evidence. And even if there is evidence? The truth that comes out of the mouth, Xingyu still understands, something's rotten in the stomach is the best. I don't know if this is a person from the 3rd generation of Hokage, or a person from Danzo. Xingyu guessed that it should be Tuanzang's subordinates. Tsunade is a disciple of Ape Flying Sun Chopper, although Ape Flying Sun Chopper is not a good person, but it is not bad, and this kind of thing to his own disciples, Ape Flying Sun Chopper will definitely not be able to do it. And Tuanzang this guy, he can do everything. When you go to Konoha, you must be careful with Danzo, but as long as you don't show too conspicuously, Danzo should not notice you. It's just that just now, when he took Kushina to dodge the attack of Shuriken and kunai, the speed that burst out seemed to be seen by Tsunade, and I hope Tsunade will not say it. Damn. Tsunade suddenly discovers that there is an extremely powerful ninja who is slaying the clan of Senju. Tsunade estimated that the strength of that person should be as elite as Shinobi, and the strength may be weaker than her, but compared to the others, the strength is too strong. In a short time, that person had already joined forces with other ninjas and killed 3 upper ninja of the Senju clan. Tsunade's eyes were angry, and he wanted to go over and kill the guy, but he was stopped, obviously some Naka ninja, but he didn't want to stop it. Get out of my way, Tensho. Tsunade stepped on the ground cracked countless cracks, the ground shook, and the ninja who came to block her footsteps was unsteady and was shaken to the ground. Even some ninja legs got stuck in cracked ground, making them unable to move. Tsunade couldn't care about these ninjas, and rushed towards that elite shinobi. That elite shinobu immediately retreated, gave Tsunade a cold glance, and then shouted, "Retreat." The attacking ninja quickly retreated, without delaying at all, and Tsunade looked at the retreating ninjas, and there was no way. It was hard to catch a living mouth, and the other party committed suicide. Xingyu pulled Kushina out, looked at Tsunade with angry eyes red, and secretly shook his head. It was really sad. This time, the 3 upper shinobi of the Senju clan died, and there were 6 of the 9 upper shinobi left, and they still had some injuries. Sharingan, placed in a big ninja village, is the backbone, and placed in a family, the status is higher. The Senju clan was no longer the great clan it once was, and now Kami Shinobu has a total of 9 in addition to Tsunade, but now 3 have died. Take their remains, let's go. Tsunade bowed his head and ordered to the others. He continued to rush to Konoha, but Tsunade was much silent on the way, and the atmosphere of the whole team was a little wrong. After walking for 2 days, I finally arrived at Konoha village, which is also the first ninja village in the ninja world. Since the attack, the rest of the journey has been very calm, and the next journey has been very smooth. Go back and bury them, and I'll take them to the Hokage. Tsunade said to the other clansmen. Those 1,000 hands nodded and returned to the land of the 1,000 hands, where they wanted to bury their dead companions. Tsunade, on the other hand, took the survivors of the 5 Uzumaki clans, namely Uchiha, Kushina, Akiko Uzumaki, Uzumaki and Uzumaki Hikaru, to the Hokage's office. After coming to the Hokage's office, Tsunade directly smashed the door to pieces with a punch, and Sarutobi Hinata, who was working, raised his head, and after seeing that it was Tsunade, the corners of his mouth twitched. Tsunade, you're back, how is the Uzumaki clan? Sarutobi didn't care about Tsunade smashing the door, after all, it wasn't once or twice. The Vortex clan is gone, they are the survivors of the Whirlpool clan. Tsunade said with a gloomy face. What? Are you saying that the Vortex family is gone? Why is it gone? Sarutobi stood up and asked Tsunade. When I arrived at the Vortex clan, it was already late, the Vortex clan had already been destroyed, and they were the survivors of the Vortex clan. When Tsunade said this, his fists clenched, it was too late to get the news. If he could have learned the news earlier, maybe the Uzumaki clan would not have been exterminated. This way. Ape Fei sat down and looked at Xingyu and them, with a bit of scrutiny in his eyes. Being stared at by the ape-flying sun, Xingyu felt a little uncomfortable. The eyes of the ape-flying sun chop are very sharp, after all, now is the ape-flying sun chop in the prime of life, but not the third generation of old men in the future. With a sharp gaze, as if it could see through all your secrets, Xingyu felt uncomfortable with such eyes. Episode 14. Ape Futobi stared at Xingyu and the few of them for a while, and then a sad expression appeared on his face. Alas, I didn't expect the Uzumaki clan to suffer such a disaster. You can rest assured, Konoha and the Uzumaki clan are the best allies, and we Konoha will definitely find out the murderer. Now you guys will settle down in Konoha, rest assured, no one in Konoha will be able to hurt you. After Ape Flying Sun slashed his position, Vortex Light and Uzumaki Tsuki significantly relaxed a lot. Naruto-sama, you must help find the murderer. Uzumaki Tsuki said, crying. His parents and relatives died in this extermination. Akiko Uzumaki is also wiping her tears, thinking of her relatives. Tears involuntarily remain. Don't worry, the Uzumaki clan is an ally of our Konoha village, and anyone who strikes against the Uzumaki clan is an enemy of our Konoha. Ape Fei said solemnly. I have to say that the 3 generations of Hokage still have a few brushes, and under the pacification of the ape-flying sun, even Joshinai, who was a little nervous in his heart, relaxed. As for why Xingyu knew, of course, it was Joshinai holding his hand, which was not so tight now. When he first entered Konoha village, Joshinai held Xingyu's hand tightly and came to the strange Konoha village, and it was impossible for the 5-year-old Joshinai not to be nervous. Tsunade, let them live in the Senju clan, what do you think? Sarutobi asked as he turned to Tsunade. That's fine, but there's one thing I need you to give me an explanation. Boom. Tsunade punched Sarutobi's desk, which was made of solid wood, and cracked like a spider's web. 3 generations, after we entered the territory of the Land of Fire, we encountered a ninja attack of unknown forces. What is going on? Ape Fei was startled and immediately stood up. You were attacked? Looking at Tsunade's cold face, Sarutobi knew that it should be true. Could it be that ninjas from other countries had entered the Land of Fire? Sarutobi asked with an ugly face, how many ninjas attacked you? 25, of which there are at least 10 upper shinobi, and 1 elite upper shinobi. Tsunade said angrily. Ape Fei's face changed constantly, more than a dozen upper ninja, and 1 elite upper ninja, this is not a small force. If it is really a ninja from another country, there may be some conspiracy. Tsunade, this is my dereliction of duty not to find such a large force entering the territory of the Fire Nation. Don't worry, I will send the ninja of the Dark Department to investigate clearly. Sarutobi knew that Tsunade was so angry, there must have been casualties. Let me know when there is news. Tsunade took Uchiha and them out of Hokage's office, and as soon as he walked out of Hokage's office, he saw a guy with a gloomy temperament walking towards this side. Tsunade's brow frowned, it was Danzo this guy. Although Danzo's status in Konoha village is high, Tsunade is very annoying, and this guy is very shady. Tsunade, you're back, are they from the Uzumaki clan? Danzo looked at the Uzumaki clan behind Tsunade, his eyes flickered, now Danzo's 2 eyes were intact, and he had not transplanted the Sharingan, and so did his arms. Humph. Tsunade snorted coldly, ignoring Danzo without even paying attention to it, and left with Hoshiyu and them. When Xingyu left, he glanced at Tuanzang. He had already recognized Tuanzang. After all, the scar on Tuanzang's chin was very iconic. Danzo's face was gloomy, and Tsunade didn't give him any face, just like those of the Senju clan. Danzo walked into Hokage's office, glanced at the broken door, and then looked towards Sarutobi. Tuanzang, why are you here? Ape Fei frowned. I'm here to discuss something with you. Exactly, I also have something to find you. Sarutobi stood up, walked to the window, saw Tsunade leave with the survivors of the Uzumaki clan, and waved his hand. Sarutobi waved his hand, and in an instant the shadow ninja who were hidden in the shadows and were responsible for protecting Naruto's safety left, leaving only Sarutobi and Shimura Danzo in the office. Danzo, I asked you, Tsunade said that she was attacked when she returned, I want to know, does this have anything to do with you? Ape Fei stared at Tuanzang, his gaze very sharp. Humph, you actually suspect that the old man made a move on your disciple? Tuanzang snorted coldly, his eyes narrowed. This matter has nothing to do with the old man. Tuanzang flicked his sleeves and left, and the things that he was originally going to discuss with Sarutobi Richo were not going to talk about it now. Sure enough, this matter has something to do with you, Tuanzang. Ape Flying Sun Chopper sat down. For Tuanzang, Ape Flying Sun Chopper knew a little better, even if Tuanzang did not show a little flaw, but Ape Flying Sun Chopper still saw it. Punish the regiment? Not to mention that there is no clear evidence. Even if there is clear evidence, the ape flying sun slash will cover up the group, so it is necessary to find a way to deal with Tsunade. This is the clan land of the Senju clan. You will live here in the future. Most of the houses are empty. You can choose the empty houses at will. Tsunade said to them after taking Hoshiyu and them to the Senju clan's land. It's so big, it's actually bigger than our Whirlpool tribe. Akiko Uzumaki couldn't help but say. Xingyu's gaze swept over, and the space swept. It seemed that the former number 1 clan of the warring states also existed in name only. Joshinai, which one do you want to live in? Xingyu asked towards Joshinai. Xingyu little ghost, and little girl, you guys come with me. Tsunade said towards Hoshiha. Huh? Hoshiha looked at Tsunade with questioning eyes. Little ghost, you didn't act simple before, I saw it. After Tsunade finished speaking, he turned and walked to the other side. Xingyu's face stiffened, hesitated, and pulled Yoshina to follow Tsunade. Seeing Hoshiwa and Kushina leaving with Tsunade, Uzumaki was a little jealous. Damn, why does Tsunade-sama treat him differently than he treats us? Akiko Uzumaki didn't think so much. It was already good to have a place to live, and after choosing an empty room, Akiko Uzumaki began to clean up. Why should we follow her? Joshinai said very unpleasantly. Hoshiyu spread his hands, who let Tsunade discover some of his strength. Hoshiyu now only hopes that Tsunade will not say it. If Tsunade says it, then in Konoha in the future, I am afraid that there will be trouble. He followed Tsunade to a small courtyard, and Tsunade said, there are still a few empty rooms over there, so you can stay here. Then thank you Tsunade-sama. Xingyu glanced at this small courtyard, and had to say that this place was much better than the one he went to before. There are people living here, right? Hoshiba asked towards Tsunade. That's right, I live here, and it just so happens that I'm bored living alone, so I let you funny little imp live here. Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu with a hint of interest in his gaze, and Tsunade especially wanted to explore this not simple little ghost. In addition, you little girl, by the way, thank me. Tsunade looked at Kushina and said. I won't thank you. Joshinai said angrily, actually saying that she was passing by the way, too angry. Episode 15. In the living room, Hoshiha and Kushina sat across from Tsunade. They had already cleaned up the room, and now Hoshiha felt the need to talk to Tsunade. Tsunade knew his strength, and although he didn't know his specific strength, he also knew that he was not simple. If Tsunade revealed this to the 3 generations, with the character of the 3rd generation of Hokage, he would definitely send a ninja from the dark department to spy on him. Xingyu does not want to be monitored. If he is monitored, he will undoubtedly expose a lot of problems, and even some secrets will be exposed. Tsunade-sama, there is something I want to tell you. Oh, then you say. Tsunade picked up the cup and drank it, looking at Hoshiha playfully. Tsunade wasn't an idiot, she had now guessed what Hoshiha was going to talk to her about. Tsunade-sama, you should know something about my strength. Xingyu did not hide it, there was no need, it was already an obvious thing, why bother to cover it up? Well, when you encountered danger before, I was surprised by the speed at which you burst out. Tsunade stared at Xingyu, she was really surprised, the speed of Xingyu's burst at that time was probably not weaker than her. It's really hard to imagine that a 5-year-old imp would actually burst out so fast. In fact, this is very normal, when people encounter danger, they will burst out dozens of times the power in a short time, and I should have the potential to burst at that time. Xingyu said nonsense. Hee, do you little devil take me for a fool? I'm a medical ninja, Tsunade sneered twice, the kind of potential explosion that Hoshiyu said did exist, and at the moment of life and death, unimaginable power could indeed erupt. But such an outbreak will pay a great price, ranging from a reduction in life expectancy to a violent death. And Xingyu is not unusual at all, this is obviously not a potential outbreak, and he wants to fool her. I really think she is easy to deceive. Well, actually, I do have some strength, but I want Tsunade-sama to keep it a secret from me. Hoshiyu knew that Tsunade was not so easy to fool, so he didn't make it up, and it was useless to make it up, but it would make Tsunade more suspicious. Why give you a secret? Tsunade asked puzzled, since there is a shining point, why not show it? At a young age, he can burst out at that speed, no matter what method he used, he can be regarded as a genius. I don't know if Tsunade-sama has heard of it. Wood shows in the forest, and the wind will destroy it. If the pile comes from the shore, the stream will be turbulent, walk higher than man, and all will not do it. If a person is too good, then he will attract not only envy, but also jealousy, and jealousy is a very terrible thing, it can make people unrecognizable. Hoshiyu's words shocked Tsunade, looking at Hoshiyu as if he was looking at a monster. Although I haven't heard what you said, I still understand the reasoning. It feels like you have a point, and I now wonder if you are a 5-year-old child. Tsunade looked at Hoshiha with a skeptical gaze. Tsunade wouldn't be surprised at all if these words were uttered by someone over half 100 years old, but Hoshiyu was only over 5 years old. Ahem. Xingyu coughed lightly. What to do? It seems that pretending to be too much. Don't ask me how I know these truths. I am often too good to be out of place around me, and I will always be envious and jealous. Hoshiha raised his little face, causing Tsunade to burst out laughing. You really put gold on your face. It's not about sticking gold, that's what it's like. It's because I'm used to living an extraordinary life, so I want to experience what mortal life is like. The corners of Tsunade's mouth twitched, the corners of Joshinai's mouth twitched. The two women looked at Xingyu. At this moment 2 words crossed their minds. Those 2 words were pretending. Xingyu secretly laughed twice, and unconsciously, the previous problems were all brought by him. Okay, I can help you keep it secret, but you have to promise me some conditions. Tsunade said towards Hoshiha. Some conditions? Are you sure some are not one? Xingyu had a smile on his face, but in his heart, he was selling criticism to his mother. That's right, just some, not one. Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu proudly. He was quite good at pretending just now. Now it depends on how you pretend. As long as it's not too much, I can't agree. Hoshiha looked at Tsunade and said. Joshinai's face changed, and she looked at Tsunade unkindly. You can't mention any excessive conditions. Don't worry, I won't embarrass you. Tsunade ignored Kushina and looked directly at Hoshiha and said. Joshinai knocked on the table angrily. This woman was deliberately ignoring herself. First of all, when I rub your hair and pinch your face in the future, you must not resist or avoid me. This first one made Xingyu's face change, and Joshinai's face also changed. Old woman, I see that you just want to take advantage of Xiaoyu. Kushina stood directly in her chair and looked at Tsunade. Little girl, what did you just call me? The anger in Tsunade's heart. She was only 16, and she was called an old woman by a little girl. Haven't you heard it all? Joshina is not afraid of Tsunade at all. When it comes to Hoshiyu, how can she be afraid of Tsunade? Little girl, if it weren't for your young age, I wouldn't be able to help but clean you up. Humph, old woman, if I'm the same age as you, then I'll clean you up. Tsunade and Kushina's eyes met each other, and Hoshiha felt the air scorch, and an aura of war rushed to his face. Ahem, let's get down to business now. Tsunade-sama's conditions, I agree. Hoshiyu looked at Tsunade with a smile, making Tsunade very suspicious. Before, Hoshiyu rubbed her hair and pinched her cheeks and was still very resistant. Now what is going on? There won't be some conspiracy, right? Now Tsunade didn't dare to think of Hoshiha as an ordinary 5-year-old child. In fact, what Xingyu is thinking about now is to let you take advantage of it now, and when the strength becomes stronger in the future, let Tsunade return it tenfold. Hoshi Feather wants Tsunade to know that my vortex star feather is cheap, but it is not so easy to take advantage of. Xiaoyu, you actually agreed. Jioshinai pouted and glanced at Xingyu, and then turned his face to the side angrily, not wanting to pay attention to Xingyu. And Tsunade on the side, after seeing Jioshinai's angry expression, was inexplicably a little excited in his heart. Then Tsunade couldn't help but slap his forehead. When did he degenerate to the point of being angry with a little girl? Then I'll start talking about my other conditions. Tsunade said towards Hoshiha. At the same time, Tsunade was still observing Hoshiha's expression, wanting to see Hoshiha's expression change. However, to Tsunade's disappointment, Hoshiha didn't change his expression at all, and even made a gesture of your invitation to her. Tsunade became more and more suspicious, and Hoshiha's performance was too wrong. Tsunade couldn't have imagined that Hoshiyu had already made plans, and now he would suffer a loss, and wait for the future to get back with interest. Episode 16, The Contest with Tsunade, Seeking Collection. Aren't you going to say other conditions? Why don't you make a sound? Hoshiha looked at Tsunade suspiciously. I haven't thought about it yet, let's talk about it later. Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu, unable to think of any conditions for the time being. Maybe there won't be a chance in the future. Xingyu looked at Tsunade with deep meaning. His strength improved very quickly, and it would not be long before his strength could surpass Tsunade. This self-confidence, Xingyu still has. There is a perfect immortal body, and the system plug-in, how fast his strength will grow, this star feather himself cannot predict. By the way, I want to see how much strength you have and come to the training ground with me. Tsunade got up and pulled Xingyu to her private training ground for cultivation, just behind this courtyard. The venue was not small. Jioshinai followed behind, his cheeks bulging, just like a small bun, and he was still angry in his heart. Come, star feather little ghost, let's have a discussion. What? I didn't hear you wrong, right? Hoshiyu looked at Tsunade in amazement. She actually said to fight with herself. What kind of joke is this? Where is Hoshiyu now, Tsunade's opponent? Looking for abuse, Xingyu will not do it. Don't worry, I'll keep my hand. Tsunade passed a reassuring look to Hoshiha. Shall you go, teach this woman a lesson? Joshinai stood next to Xingyu and said to Xingyu with a small pink fist. Joshinai, what are you doing? If I can beat her, then it will be no problem. The key is that I am not an opponent. Do you want to see me crippled? Xingyu leaned into Joshinai's ear and said. Crippled? Is it so serious? Then forget it. Joshinai recalled in his mind that after the previous attack, Tsunade's violent side, he suddenly shook his head. One punch can beat the enemy into a human form, and it is indeed dangerous to fight her. That, and anger generates wealth. I have always disliked the thing of fighting and killing. Hoshiha said as he spread his hands towards Tsunade. Tsunade's eyes narrowed slightly, he laughed, and then said, it doesn't matter if you don't want to fight, then you can be beaten. After Tsunade finished speaking, a punch came towards Hoshiyu. Feeling the fist wind, Hoshiyu's face changed slightly. It can't be play for real, right? Although Xingyu felt that Tsunade should not be heavy, in the face of the punch that came over, Xingyu still instinctively dodged. It's pretty fast. Tsunade withdrew his fist and looked at Hoshiyu. The punch just now, even Naka Shinobu could not dodge. Wait. Hoshiyu saw that Tsunade was coming again, and quickly called a halt. There is no benefit in fighting you, so forgive me for refusing. Benefits? What benefits do you want? Tsunade stopped and looked at Hoshiyu. Well, if you teach me an A** grade ninjutsu, I don't mind fighting you. Hoshiha's gaze flickered, his eyes looking at Tsunade. If Tsunade doesn't agree, Hoshiha won't lose anything, and instead, he can avoid fighting Tsunade. If Tsunade agrees, it is not bad, at least one A** level ninjutsu can be obtained, no matter how you calculate it, this transaction will not be lost. Little ghost, your abacus is very loud. Okay, I promised, I can still take out an A** level ninjutsu. Tsunade said indifferently, as the princess of the Senju clan, if it is S-level ninjutsu, Tsunade may frown. But it's just an A** level ninjutsu, and Tsunade, who has deep pockets, doesn't care at all, and Tsunade wants to dig into the secret of the little devil of Xingyu. Okay then, please ask Tsunade-sama's subordinates to show mercy. Hoshiyu took a few steps back, opened the distance, and stared at Tsunade. This time may also be an opportunity to test his strength. Of course, there are some things that Star Feather will not use, such as Spiral Pill and King Kong Blockade. King Kong Blockade is okay. If the Spiral Pill is used, I really don't know how to explain it. The use of Spiral Pills will definitely not cause a small sensation. After all, Spiral Pills are a Muji ninjutsu. The most surprising thing about Spiral Pills is not the power, and there are many stronger than Spiral Pills in A** level ninjutsu, but Spiral Pills do not need to be sealed, which is incomparable to other ninjutsu. No need to seal the seal. This means that the Spiral Pill can be instantaneous. In the battle of life and death, 0.1 of a second is the key. Omitting the not does not know how much of an advantage to occupy. And Xingyu didn't think to use his full strength, leaving enough whole cards for himself at any time. Although Hoshiyu knew that with Tsunade's personality, since she promised not to say anything about his strength, she would definitely not say it, but Hoshiyu still habitually hit it. You strike first. Tsunade said towards Hoshiha. Then you're welcome. Hoshiyu will not be polite with Tsunade, it is originally that he is in a weak position. Gathering half of his strength, Hoshiba rushed towards Tsunade, and when he was still 3 meters away from Tsunade, Hoshiba jumped up and punched Tsunade from top to bottom. And Hoshiba's target is Tsunade's face. Xiaoyu, you must come on. Joshinai looked at Xingyu nervously. You stinky little devil. Tsunade couldn't help but feel a little upset when he saw Hoshiba hitting his face, hitting people without hitting their faces, especially women's faces. Although the fist is not big, the fist style is a little fierce, and Tsunade can only dodge it strategically, and he can't catch it with his face. Stinky boy, don't jump up easily, there is no focus in the air, I will teach you a lesson today. After dodging Hoshiyu's fist, Tsunade shot out towards Hoshiyu's abdomen like electricity. Boom! Wood chips flew and did not hit Xingyu's body, but hit a piece of wood, and it was obvious that Xingyu used a substitute technique. Tsunade's gaze froze, and he immediately turned around and threw his fist. 2 fists, one big and one small, collided together, Xingyu's body flew out, and when his body was about to fall to the ground, Xingyu flipped in the air and then landed safely. Tsunade shook his arm, and several cracks appeared on the ground under his feet. It's a lot of strength. Tsunade felt that his arms were a little numb, although Tsunade did not use the monster fist, but even if he did not use the monster fist, Tsunade's strength was not small. Tsunade didn't know what kind of monster this little devil was, but he actually had so much strength at such a young age. "Hey, are you alright?" Tsunade asked towards Hoshiha. Just now, after Xingyu used the avatar technique, he appeared directly behind her and sneaked up on her, so when Tsunade counterattacked, he didn't control his strength in a hurry, and he didn't know if the injury hurt Xingyu. "Oh, it hurts, I feel like my arm can't move, so let's fight here." Xingyu shouted loudly, the expression on his face was very exaggerated. "Ah, Xiaoyu, you are injured." Kushina quickly ran towards Hoshiyu, examining his arm worriedly, while glaring at Tsunade in dissatisfaction. Tsunade also hurriedly came over to check. The strength just now was indeed very large, and ordinary Sharingan would not be good with a punch, so Tsunade was a little worried in his heart. Ahem, Kushina is actually okay. Xingyu secretly winked at Kushina. After seeing Xingyu winking at her, Kushina relaxed, and Kushina, who understood what Xingyu meant, naturally knew that Xingyu was now pretending. Episode 17, I'm sorry Xingyu, I didn't control the strength before. Come, I'll treat you. Tsunade came to Hoshiyu, and a green chakra appeared in his hand, apparently a medical ninjutsu performed by Tsunade. Tsunade cast medical ninjutsu on Hoshiyu, and Hoshiyu didn't feel half a point at all, because he was not injured in the first place. How could he feel it? What's more, even if he is injured, the star feathers with the perfect immortal body can recover in a moment. Tsunade, who treated Hoshiyu, suddenly turned dark from worry. Stinky boy, you actually lied to me. Tsunade smashed down with a punch. Fortunately Xingyu reacted fast enough, otherwise, he would have been punched by Tsunade. It's been discovered. Hoshiha touched his nose ruefully, too. Tsunade is a medical ninja after all, or the most powerful medical ninja in Konoha village. It is too difficult to fool her. Ahem, Tsunade-sama, you can also see it, my strength is just like that, so let's not fight. Tsunade glanced at Hoshiyu and then nodded. Tsunade thought that he had roughly figured out the strength of Hoshiyu. First of all, his strength was very large, and his speed was also very fast, and it was estimated that he would not be weaker than the elite Nakashinobi, or even higher. In terms of ninjutsu, only a stand-in technique is used, but the use is very proficient, and other ninjutsu should not be used. The combat experience is not yet visible. After all, there are only a few moves in total, and they have not yet taken advantage. Looking at Hoshiyu, who didn't have anything to do, and talked to Kushina, and then felt his sore arm, Tsunade secretly cursed a monster. No wonder he didn't want to expose his strength. If this strength was really exposed, it was really not a good thing for him. If Tsunade knew that Hoshiha didn't use all his power, I don't know what expression it would be. So, Tsunade-sama, is a *grade ninjutsu supposed to be cashed in? Hoshiyu's gaze was tightly fixed on Tsunade, with anticipation in his eyes. I promised that naturally I will not regret it. What is your chakra? Tsunade asked towards Hoshiha. Tsunade-sama, don't ask me what a tribute chakra is, I want to learn the art of multiple shadow avatars. This star feather had already thought about it before, and the help of the multiple shadow avatar technique to the star feather was not ordinary. Multiple shadow doppelganger technique? Tsunade's brows furrowed, and he looked at Xingyu seriously and said, you better change one. This multiple shadow avatar technique is very dangerous and a forbidden technique. The art of multiple shadow avatars is a little careless, but he will play himself to death. Such a dangerous ninjutsu. Tsunade is obviously unwilling to teach Hoshiyu. Tsunade-sama, I still have an understanding of the multiple shadow doppelganger technique. Don't forget that I'm a member of the Uzumaki Clan. Xingyu smiled slightly at Tsunade and said, the multiple shadow doppelganger technique can help Star Feather cultivate quickly. Although Xingyu now has the shadow doppelganger art, the shadow doppelganger art needs to be separated one by one, which is very troublesome. Well, although I don't know why you want to learn this ninjutsu, I can also teach it to you. I hope you can use it carefully. Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu's insistent look, nodded and agreed to teach Hoshiyu the art of multiple shadow avatars, but still cautiously told Hoshiyu about the dangers of the multiple shadow avatar technique. Even the people of the Vortex clan do not lack chakra, and they must be cautious when using this technique. I haven't learned the art of multiple shadow avatars, but I have a ninjutsu scroll that records the cultivation method of multiple shadow avatars, so I will leave it to you. Tsunade took out a small scroll from his ninja bag and handed it to Hoshiba. You just left me to cultivate by myself, aren't you afraid that I won't be able to learn? Ninjutsu has already been given to you, whether you learn it or not is your own business, and I don't want you to learn it yet. Tsunade said. Xingyu shrugged. It was impossible to learn the art of multiple shadow avatars, because this ninjutsu was not difficult for Staryu. The multiple shadow doppelganger technique has only one seal, which may not be able to be learned for ninjas who don't have many chakras, but Star Feather's chakra can't be used. By the way, there is another thing I almost forgot. Tsunade patted his head, then said to Uchiha and Kushina, "You need to meet my grandmother with me." Hashiyu's heart moved when he heard this. Tsunade's grandmother, that is, the wife of Senjikuma, Uzumaki Mito, was once the princess of the Uzumaki family. Moreover, the Uzumaki Mito Society Uzumaki family sealing techniques, or the Nine Tails Pillar Force, the strength should not be weak. Hoshiyu estimated that the strength of Uzumaki Mito may be stronger than the third generation. Of course, this is only Hoshiyu's own guess. Maybe Uzumaki Mito is not good at fighting at all. Tsunade then called the other 3 members of the Uzumaki clan to meet Uzumaki Mito, and they would definitely not take only Uchiha and Kushina with them. Following Tsunade, Hoshiyu and they came to the depths of the Senju clan, in an exquisite courtyard. Here Uchiha met Uzumaki Mito, who was a little old. After all, he was a person who came alive during the Warring States period. However, Xingyu didn't understand, didn't Uzumaki Mito have a Yin seal, and why he looked so old. The Yin seal is an S-grade ninjutsu that usually accumulates chakra on the forehead, and at the same time forms a diamond-shaped mark on the forehead. When needed, unseal the seal through the unsealing ninjutsu Yin seal, unravel and release a large amount of chakra. And the Yin seal also has the ability to make women feel crazy, that is, to maintain eternal youth. Uzumaki Mito will also be sealed. Why didn't she maintain her youth forever? Maybe I don't care about my appearance anymore. After all, he is already a person who is about to enter the soil, where do he care about his appearance? Grandma, I'm sorry, the Uzumaki clan has. Now there are only a few survivors left. Tsunade lowered his head, not knowing how to face Uzumaki Mito. Alas. Uzumaki Mito sighed. He did not expect that the Uzumaki family, which had been inherited for thousands of years, would encounter such a disaster. Then Uzumaki Mito's gaze swept over Hoshiyu and Joshinai, and finally all his eyes were on Hoshiyu's body. Being stared at by Uzumaki Mito, Uchiha had a feeling of being seen through, even stronger than when he saw the third generation. Uzumaki Mito smiled kindly at Hoshiba and asked, "What's your name?" "Vortex Star Feather." Uchiha looked at Uzumaki Mito and replied. He could feel that Uzumaki Mito was not hostile to him. "Xingyu, I can feel that you have an unusual power, and I hope you can use that power well." Uzumaki Mito said to Hoshiyu, with some solemnity. "Unusual power?" Tsunade looked at Uchiha in surprise. Xingyu's heart was a little surprised. Could it be that Uzumaki Mito was referring to the perfect immortal body, and she could see that I had the perfect immortal body? Then Uchiha thought of the original Hokage Senjikuma. He also had a perfect immortal body, and Uzumaki Mito was the wife of Senjikuma, so it didn't seem strange that Uzumaki Mito could see something. In fact, Uzumaki Mito didn't know what a perfect immortal body was. She just felt that the majestic vitality on Xingyu's body was somewhat similar to that between the pillars. Episode 18. After staying here for a while in Uzumaki Mito, then Uzumaki Mito was about to rest, and Uchiha and they left. "Hey, my grandmother said you have an unusual power. What is it?" "I found out that you have quite a few secrets." Tsunade stared at Hoshiyu tightly, with deep curiosity in his eyes. "How do I know?" Hoshiyu shrugged at Tsunade, indicating that he didn't know that the perfect immortal body could not be exposed. But even if it is really exposed, it is estimated that no one knows about the perfect immortal body. After all, the only thing that people really remember between the thousand-hand pillars is Muduan, not the body of the immortal, but without the perfect immortal body, Mudan will definitely not have such the power to destroy the world and the earth. For example, Yamato's Muduan is also more powerful than ordinary Muduan, and is hung up as a pseudo-Muduan. Speaking of the Thousand Hands family, there should be the wooden ninjutsu left between the thousand-hand pillars, and Xingyu really wants to see the wooden ninjutsu. Although he does not have the Mudan blood succession limit now, Xingyu believes that as long as he researches, he will also have Muduan, not a Mudan like Yamato, but a Mudan like the thousand-hand pillar. "Xingyu, what are you thinking?" "It's going to hit the wall." Joshinai pulled Xingyu, and Xingyu came back to his senses. Looking at the wall in front of him, Xingyu looked embarrassed. If it weren't for Joshinai pulling himself, I am afraid that he would really bump into it. I said, "Don't you have a bad luck?" Tsunade looked at Hoshiba mockingly. Uchiha looked at Tsunade. This woman, what if he really wanted to beat this woman? Think that you are not Tsunade's opponent now, put up with it for the time being, and when your strength is stronger than you in the future, you definitely want to look good. Being stared at by Hoshiyu's malicious gaze, Tsunade raised an eyebrow, but did not pay attention to it. "By the way, I'm going to let the 4 of you go to ninja school." Tsunade looked at Uchiha, Kushina, Uzumaki, and Akiko Uzumaki and said, "You can't let them stay in the Senju clan all the time, now that they are the age to go to school, Tsunade feels that letting them go to ninja school is a good choice. Of course, if you don't want to become a ninja, you can choose not to go to school. If they weren't willing to become a ninja, Tsunade wouldn't force them. I go to a ninja school, I want to become a ninja and avenge my family in the future. Uzumaki looked hateful. I'm going to ninja school too. Akiko Uzumaki said. The experience of the extinction of the Uzumaki clan made Akiko Uzumaki, a little girl, also realize that it is impossible to do without strength, so she must also become a ninja, at least have the power to protect herself. Well, since you all decided to go to school, then I'll talk to the 3 generations tomorrow. Tsunade nodded and said. Hey, the opinions of the 2 of us, you don't seem to have asked for it yet. Oh, don't you want to be a ninja? Tsunade looked at Hoshiha and Kushina in surprise. Of course you want to, it's just this cutscene, you should go for a while. Xingyu said. Tsunade clenched his fists and said angrily, stinky boy, if you don't want to be beaten, don't make trouble for me. Xingyu shut up ruefully, with Tsunade's personality, if he says it, he will definitely do it, or don't provoke. So, Tsunade-sama, I wonder how you arranged me? Hikaru Uzumaki asked as he thought to Tsunade, he was also the only adult among the survivors. If you can pass the test, you can become a ninja in Konoha. If you don't want to be a ninja, then think of another way to make a living. Tsunade said towards the swirling light. Hikaru Uzumaki thought for a moment and said to Tsunade, trouble Tsunade-sama, to tell Naruto-sama that I want to be a Konoha ninja. Okay, I'll tell the 3 generations of old men, but whether you can become a ninja in Konoha or not, that's up to you. After saying that, Tsunade left with Hoshiwa and Kushina, while Akiko Uzumaki, Uzumaki and Uzumaki Hikaru headed towards where they lived. Damn, why is Tsunade-sama so nice to that guy from Uzumaki Hashiyu? Uzumaki was very jealous at this time. Also, when she met Uzumaki Mito just now, she also focused on Uzumaki Hashiyu most of the time, but he was not valued at all. Originally, Uzumaki had a feud with Uzumaki Hashiba, but now because of jealousy, his hatred for Hashiha deepened. Akiko Uzumaki and Hikaru Uzumaki glanced at Uzumaki and ignored him. Unlike Uzumaki Uzumaki Akiko and Uzumaki Hikaru do not have any jealousy, and they have no feud with Hashiha. As he followed Tsunade back, suddenly Hashiha saw a young boy about his age walking towards this side with a few kebabs. After seeing Tsunade, the little boy's face changed, and then he turned his head and wanted to slip away. Rope tree, you give me a stop, where do you want to go? After Tsunade saw the rope tree, he walked towards the rope tree angrily, looking at the rope tree with an unkind expression. Is he Tsunade's younger brother Naoki? Xingyu glanced at the rope tree, and said that the rope tree was also very miserable, and he died at the age of 12. Sister. Rope tree reluctantly turned his head and hid the kebab behind his back. I've seen it all, what else are you hiding? I ask you, where did the kebab come from? This one is. I bought this. Bought? Didn't you say that you already have no pocket money? Tsunade asked disapprovingly, looking at the rope tree. The last time Tsunade went to gamble and lost, and then went to Rope Tree to borrow money, Rope Tree knew that his sister was a good gambler and had never won. If the money is lent to her, it must be a meat bun beating the dog, and there is no return. So Rope Tree found a reason, saying that he had spent the money by buying ninja tools, and Tsunade could only leave unwillingly. As a result, now he bought something delicious, but he was caught, and Rope Tree was crying in his heart. Even my sister lied, and the kebab was confiscated. The kebab in Rope Tree's hand fell into Tsunade's hand in the blink of an eye, and Ropiki could only look at Tsunade. Okay, don't look at it, give you a string. Tsunade counted a total of 4 strings, gave the Rope Tree a string, and then gave Hoshiha and Kushina a string each, leaving a string for himself, just finished dividing. Well, it's so fragrant, it's more fragrant than what we baked ourselves. Joshinai said while smelling the scent of kebabs. Good, it's really delicious, and the meat skewers are quite big. Xingyu tasted it, and the taste was indeed very good, better than the barbecue he made himself, perhaps the reason for the lack of materials he prepared. Sister, are they? Rope asked curiously towards Tsunade. They are members of the Uzumaki clan, and they are distant relatives of our Senju clan, and something happened to the Uzumaki clan, and they will live here in the future. By the way, they should go to ninja school in a few days, you remember to take care of it at school. Tsunade said towards the Rope Tree. Oh, hello, my name is Rope Tree. Rope Tree introduced himself to Hoshiha and Joshinai. Hello, my name is Uzumaki Starfeather, her name is Uzumaki Joshinai, I will be disturbed here in the future. Xingyu also introduced himself, and he and Rope Tree also knew each other. Episode 19. Rope Tree, do you still have pocket money? When I win money, I will return it to you tenfold. Tsunade asked towards the rope tree. No, I really don't have $1 left. As if he was afraid that Tsunade would not believe it, he took out his pockets, all empty, and there was really no money. However, Tsunade did not believe it, and Tsunade suspected that Ropiki must have hidden money, but there was no evidence. Forget it seems that you don't have the luck of making money in the rope tree. Tsunade shook his head and said with a pitying look. Rope Tree looked happy, he didn't want this blessing. Then the rope tree carefully came to Xingyu's side and whispered to Xingyu, remember, don't lend me my sister's money, otherwise you won't pay it back. After Rope Tree finished speaking, he ran away with a puff of smoke. He was afraid that what he had just said to Xingyu would be heard by his own sister. Doesn't he live with you? Uchiha looked at the back of the rope tree and asked Tsunade suspiciously. Rope Tree lives with grandma, and this kid hides when he sees me. Tsunade said very dissatisfied, could she be some kind of desolate beast, can eat people? It's normal, if I were your brother, I would also avoid you. Xingyu glanced at Tsunade, and then said seriously, if you don't hide, you can't even keep a little pocket money. Although Tsunade doesn't eat people, she eats money. Uchiha suspects that the decline of the Senju clan is also related to Tsunade's loss of money and too much. Hey, what are you kid talking about? It's nothing, Gyoshinai, let's go back. Hoshiyu took Gyoshinai's hand, and then returned to Tsunade's small courtyard, and after returning, Hoshiyu took the cultivation method of the multiple shadow doppelganger technique and studied it. The technique of multiple shadow avatars was very simple, and it didn't take long for Hoshiyu to learn this ninjutsu. The middle fingers of the star feathers were brought together, and the hands were crossed into a cross, forming a non-seal, and dozens of star feathers appeared in the room in an instant. After dismantling the multiple shadow doppelganger technique, Uchiha walked out of the room, spoke to Tsunade and Kushina, and left the courtyard to stroll around the Senju clan. Xingyu is not wandering around, he wants to find a place to cultivate, although there is also a training ground in Tsunade's small courtyard, but Xingyu, who does not want to expose too many things, does not want to cultivate there. After walking around, Uchiha found that although the Senju clan land was not small, there was no suitable place for him to train, and it seemed that he could only go to other parts of Konoha. However, Uchiha did not plan to wander around Konoha for the time being, and now that he had just arrived in Konoha, Uchiha guessed that the 3 generations of Hokage would definitely monitor them. It's better to wait for a while, go again, and take a good rest during this time. There is also the copy system of Star Feather, which now has 3 normal copies and 1 advanced copy. Advanced Replication can copy a wide range of things, S-level ninjutsu can be copied, shadow-level powerhouse chakra, physique can be copied, and even the blood succession limit can be copied. However, the replication of the blood succession limit is also limited. If it is the Eye of Reincarnation, it will definitely not be copied, and even the Eternal Kaleidoscope Riding Wheel Eye cannot be copied. Kaleidoscope Riding Wheel Eyes, relying on advanced copying, can be copied. If my chakra eye is open to the level of a kaleidoscope chakra eye and then copies a pair of kaleidoscope chakra eyes, will it evolve into an eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye? Xingyu said to himself. Kaleidoscope chakra eye is the supreme pupil technique of the Uchiha family, but it has a very fatal side effect, that is, excessive use can lead to blindness in the eyes, which is like a curse. In order to solve it, it must evolve into the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan, and can also cast a full-body Suzaku. It's just that it evolved into the eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye, and it was necessary to transplant the kaleidoscope chakra eye of the brother. Xingyu doesn't have a brother at all, and this road can't be walked. So I can only think of other ways, relying on the system is a way. In addition, Xingyu feels that the evolution of the eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye may not only have the method of transplanting the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye of his own brother. Otherwise, where did the eternal kaleidoscope of Indra's eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan come from? There are also 6 immortal Datumuyu. His reincarnation eye is not born, but also evolved step by step. In fact, Xingyu does not need to worry, after his chakra eye evolves into a kaleidoscope chakra eye, even if he cannot evolve into an eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye, he does not need to worry about blindness. Because he possessed the perfect immortal body, Uchiha took the soil to transplant the cells between the original Hokage Senju pillars, and he could use the kaleidoscope chakra eye without side effects. And Xingyu has a perfect immortal body, so he doesn't have to worry about blindness at all. But even so, Star Feather has to find a way to evolve into the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan, because Star Feather Eye has the ability to crave the eternal kaleidoscope. The complete Susanoo basically swept everything. And with the eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, plus the perfect immortal body, he can rely on himself and evolve the reincarnation eye. It's exciting to think about it. But it's too early to think about this. Luoyu's chakra eye is just a little jade. I don't know how long it will take to evolve into a kaleidoscope chakra eye, and it is not so simple to evolve into a kaleidoscope chakra eye. When Xingyu returned to the small courtyard, it was already dark, and he went to rest after dinner. At noon the next day, Tsunade took Hashiwa, Kushina, Akiko Uzumaki, and the four of them to the ninja school. This ninja school was established by the second generation of Hokage. Because school has been going on for a while, you will become transfer students, and if you have any questions at that time, you should ask the teacher more. Tsunade said to Hashiha. Tanaka-sensei, they'll leave it to you. Tsunade-sama, please rest assured, I will definitely teach them seriously. The teacher named Tanaka said to Tsunade. Give Hashiwa and them to Tanaka-sensei, and then Tsunade leaves, and as the elite of the village, Tsunade is also very busy. Following Tanaka-sensei, the four of them came to the middle of the class, and Hashiyu, who entered the class, saw the rope tree at a glance. Hey, Xingyu, Joshinai, you guys are coming to our class. Rope tree stood up happily. Rope tree, you give me an honest seat. Tanaka-sensei reprimanded the rope tree. After being reprimanded, Rope Tree sat down honestly. Don't look at Rope Tree's identity is not ordinary. He is the grandson of the first Hokage, but he must also be honest here. The four of them are new transfer students, please welcome the new students. Tanaka-sensei said. Those students below all looked at Xingyu with curious eyes. Red hair, rare, this time actually appeared four at once. No, plus another one in the class, 5 red-haired people. Well, that's right, there is another red-haired man in this class, and that is Akimichi Dingza. Let's introduce yourselves first, let's start with you. Tanaka-sensei pointed to Uzumaki Hashiba. Uzumaki Starfeather shrugged and then said. My name is Uzumaki Starfeather, I like beautiful women, I hate Ji-yen, that's all, the introduction is over. The corners of Tanaka-sensei's mouth twitched, this self-introduction is really special. Episode 20, Uzumaki Hashiyu-san, don't you think your self-introduction is a little too brief? Don't you talk about your dreams? Tanaka-sensei looked at Uzumaki Hashiha and said. Dreams and everything is virtual, or how to call it a dream, so you can think about it in your dream, I don't think you need to say it. Okay, then please introduce yourself to the next classmate. Tanaka-sensei shook his head, then looked at Kushina. Joshinai looked at the students below and felt a little nervous, but at this moment, Xingyu held Joshinai's hand and asked her not to be so nervous. After being held by Xingyu, Joshinai's heart relaxed. My name is Uzumaki Kushina, I like Hashiba, I hate Tsunade, and my dream is to be with Hashiba all the time. Joshinai plucked up the courage to say. After Joshinai finished speaking, the originally quiet student suddenly exclaimed, is it so bold? It's actually my sister who annoys. Rope Tree is surprised that what Kushina hates is actually his sister Tsunade. Tanaka-sensei is full of black lines, are the little girls now so precocious? Xingyu couldn't help but look towards Joshinai, but Joshinai had already lowered her head shyly, her cheeks became red, and she was embarrassed. Ahem, give me quiet. Tanaka-sensei coughed lightly, then straightened his face to silence the shouting students in the class. You two find a place where no one is there first. Tanaka-sensei said to Hashiwa and Kushina. Xingyu looked around and found that the empty seats were all behind, so he pulled Joshinai to the back together. Then came the self-introduction of Akiko Uzumaki, and Akiko Uzumaki's self-introduction was ordinary, she was like a weak little girl. However, Uzumakisuke's self-introduction just said his name coldly, making people feel that he was a very difficult person to get along with. The names are all called Uzumaki, and the hairstyles are all the same red, are they all from one family? A guy with a pineapple head glanced at Xingyu with dead fish eyes. Lujio, it's really not easy for you to wake up. Yamanaka Haichi, who was sitting next to Nara Shikahisa, said. I don't want to wake up either, the point is that your voice is too loud and woke me up. Nara Shikaku rolled his eyes and said. Hello, my name is Uzumaki Starfeather, please advise. In the back row of the classroom, after Xingyu pulled Joshinai to sit down, he said to a girl next to him with a delicate face and beautiful long straight black hair. The girl looked at Xingyu a little flattered, and then smiled softly, and said politely, Hello, my name is Mikoto Uchiha, please advise more. Xingyu was stunned all of a sudden, he just saw this little girl growing beautifully, so he said hello, but he didn't expect that the other party was Uchiha Mikoto. It's just not right, Hashiha glanced at Joshinai, and then glanced at Uchiha Mikoto. Joshina and Uchiha Mikoto are the same age? No, Uchiha Mikoto should be much older than Kushina, and it is said that Uchiha Mikoto should graduate from ninja school now. Maybe it has something to do with me, a traverser, after all, in the original work, only Joshina came to Konoha, and now the Uzumaki clan who came to Konoha, counting my words, there are 4. Xingyu said to himself in his heart. A small butterfly flaring its wings can cause a storm, not to mention a large living person. It seems that I have also become the kind of cow who inadvertently changes the world. Xingyu inexplicably felt that he was very good. Hiss. Joshinai, what are you doing? Hoshiyu saw his pinched red arm and asked Joshinai. Humph, what do you say I do, big colored wolf? Joshinai snorted coldly, no wonder he pulled her to sit here, it turned out to see a beautiful little beauty here. Hoshiyu was depressed, he admitted that Uchiha Mikoto was very delicate, but Hoshiyu was just saying hello, so he was named the big color wolf. Even if Uchiha Mikoto looks beautiful, it's just a little girl, and Hoshiyu is not a pervert, how can he have an idea about a little girl? He really can't understand Joshinai. But thinking that before, Joshinai said that she liked herself in front of the class, so now she is 100% jealous. Sure enough, the children of the Hokage world are precocious, think of Uchiha Obito who liked Rin Unohara before he was 5 years old, and Sakura Haruno was obsessed with Nezuko at the age of 6. Uchiha-san, why are you sitting at the back? Hoshiha asked Mikoto Uchiha curiously, as a girl, there are not many people sitting at the back. Well, this is Xingyu's experience in his previous life, and the latter are basically tall and poor students. Because they don't want to sit with me. Uchiha Mikoto smiled slightly, there was helplessness in the smile, and others avoided her, so Uchiha Mikoto also consciously sat at the back. Why? Joshinai couldn't be jealous at this time, and asked curiously. Joshinai's curiosity was also very heavy. You shouldn't be from Konoha, right? Mikoto Uchiha asked rhetorically. That's right, you are so powerful, you can actually see at once that we are not from Konoha village. Kushina looked at Uchiha Mikoto in surprise. Uchiha Mikoto shook her head lightly, and then said, because I am a member of the Uchiha family, they are reluctant to come near me. Kushina looked at Uchiha Mikoto for unknown reasons, but Hashi had guessed some reasons. The reputation of the Uchiha family in Konoha village is simply indescribable. Anyway, the Uchiha family basically offended all the families of Konoha, and even the commoners. The people of the Uchiha family are more arrogant, which is not visible in Uchiha Mikoto's body, but it is very obvious in the other clansmen. Too arrogant, this is destined to have no friends, plus act more arrogantly, which is disgusting. Finally, the position in charge of the Uchiha family, the Konoha Police Department, is an important department, whose main job is to maintain law and order and stability within the Konoha ninja village. This position inevitably involves dealing with the major families, as well as many civilians in Konoha. If placed on the heads of other families, this is indeed a good errand, and can even win over and unite other families, and can also have a great reputation among the commoners. For example, people from other families, if something goes wrong, if you turn a blind eye and let each other go, the other party will definitely appreciate you. But this position is in charge of the Uchiha family, and with the character of the Uchiha clan, no matter who commits a crime, it will be severely punished, and it will be a big thing. And when it comes to their own people, the big things are directly turned into small things, and the small things are turned into small things. Such a style naturally caused dissatisfaction among the major families and residents of Konoha. However, the Uchiha family is indeed powerful. After the fall of the Thousand Hands, the Uchiha family is the #1 clan in Konoha, and no one dares to provoke the Uchiha family, and even dare not say bad things about the Uchiha family, otherwise they will be invited to the police department for tea. Just as the so-called can't afford to provoke me, I can't hide, so the Uchiha family is isolated, which is also the situation that some people want to see.